rat-tat-tat, 100 years of liberty, America went on a spree.
The world has come a long way since then, and the New York Exposition of 1964 is the greatest World's Fair of all time. Ever since I was a small boy in Illinois, I've had a great personal admiration for Abraham Lincoln.
One of Walt Disney's childhood heroes was Abraham Lincoln. He even recited the 16th President's Gettysburg Address from memory as a schoolboy. He would continue to use his admiration for Lincoln to continue to evolve Disneyland after its opening decades later. During the 1950s, the idea was an attraction named One Nation Under God, a theatre show featuring an original film about the American history and a hall filled with lifelike figures of every US president. Originally, Walt wanted to create them in wax, but later he aimed to create audio animatronics of each president, a daunting task at the time, requiring the creation of 34 mechanical figures. They started with Abraham Lincoln.
So when we decided to recreate some of the great moments in Mr. Lincoln's life for the World's Fair, we directed all our energies to that task. We wanted to bring to the people of today the inspiring words of the man who held this nation together during its moment of greatest crisis.
Walt hoped by creating the audio animatronic he could lure in sponsors to fund his One Nation Under God attraction. As development on the new attraction progressed, the head of the 1964 World's Fair, Robert Moses, toured the Disney studios in 1962. Walt took the opportunity to be a part of the iconic World's Fair as a testing ground for his ideas for new attractions.
Walt Disney, we're happy to welcome you to the fair. We know about your work and your achievements in many fields in Disneyland and elsewhere, and we want you to bring all your talent and genius to us. Now, are you willing to do that?
It's an exciting challenge.
When Robert Moses saw the plans for One Nation Under God, he was so impressed he insisted on including the attraction at the fair. Walt relished the idea but would be unable to create the full show as planned, so a revised plan was created to focus on his childhood hero. Work was also underway at this time on a full family of audio animatronics, Walt called the Carousel Theatre of Progress.
There. Now let's hear the theme song of the Carousel Theatre.
There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, shining at the end of every day.
Walt Disney would pour his and his Imagineers' creative efforts into creating something brand new and unique. The first audio animatronics created by Walt were mechanical birds that would feature in the Enchanted Tiki Room, but a life-size human was an incredible feat.
To start with, we were fortunate in being able to secure this life mask of the 16th president. How do we get this, Blaine?
This is actually a copy of an original life mask by the sculptor Leonard Volk in Chicago in 1860.
Before Lincoln was president.
Before Lincoln was president.
Before he had a beard.
That's right.
While actual photographs of the president himself were used to create the body.
Now with this to start with, our sculptor Blaine Gibson has been able to create this very accurate likeness of this great man.
Disney Imagineer Blaine Gibson sculpted the face of the audio animatronic. Blaine, a Disney legend, has sculpted the face of countless attractions afterwards, including Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion, and the iconic Partners statue. As the figure took shape, Imagineers were tasked with bringing the mechanical figure to life. In turn, this created the idea for a new form of robotics called audio animatronics. The original machine used tones recorded on a magnetic tape to tell the hydraulic valves when to move. Each tone indicated which part of the figure needed to move and at what time. When the tape is played, the tones send electrical signals to the required valves, which would bring President Lincoln to life. Imagineer Wayfall Rogers spent hours in a harness built to record body movements to create the realistic tones used to control the audio animatronic.
During our exhaustive research into Lincoln's life, we studied his mannerisms, his gestures, and even his voice characteristics to create a faithful likeness of this honored man. The final result is so lifelike that you might find it hard to believe. So when you visit the fair, be sure and stop by the state of Illinois Pavilion and spend a few moments with this great man.
The opening night of the fair did not go problem-free. Hundreds of dignitaries from the state of Illinois, which sponsored the attraction, waited to see the new audio animatronic show. Because of the animatronic failing to work though, the display was cancelled by Walt. He believed in putting on the perfect show or no show at all, which can be seen throughout Walt's creations. After some modifications, the audio animatronic came to life and the show opened on April 22nd, 1964. The show consisted of a pre-show highlighting the state, followed by the presentation of the Lincoln audio animatronic. The Illinois Pavilion became one of the most popular attractions at the fair in 1964. It ran for both of the 6-month seasons of the fair and closed on October 17, 1965. During the second season of the fair, a duplicate of the audio animatronic was made, and the show Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln opened on July 18, 1965 on Main Street, USA at Disneyland. The show ran until 1974 when it was replaced by the Walt Disney Story. The replacement show would run for 2 years before the return of the president in the Walt Disney Story featuring Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, after much criticism of removing the iconic audio animatronic. At the end of the fair, the pavilion was completely demolished. The original audio animatronic figure was believed to have been lost. It was finally discovered that the audio animatronic was shipped back to California in a crate and forgotten for decades. Eventually, the iconic original Abraham Lincoln would be on display at the Walt Disney's One Man Dream attraction at Hollywood Studios, now called Walt Disney Presents. The Disneyland show has been updated throughout the years, and a new Lincoln was created in 1984 with enhanced expressions, a new skin, new costume, and now he could hold a piece of paper during his speech. And again, in 2009, the audio animatronic was replaced with an electronic figure which creates more emotive capabilities. While the audio animatronic may have changed over the years, the essence of Walt Disney's childhood hero remains today at Disneyland.
The world has never had a good definition of the word liberty. And the American people just now are much in want of one.
The Abraham Lincoln audio animatronic, created and envisioned by Walt himself, paved the way for the continued advancement of audio animatronics throughout the years by Disney. Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion, and now with even more realistic audio animatronics. Disney would go on after Walt's death to create the attraction he envisioned with the opening of the Hall of Presidents in 1971, and complete Walt's idea of creating an attraction featuring an audio animatronic of every US president.
In a country where we the people means all the people, we may come from different places and believe different things. But what makes us American is a shared spirit, a spirit of courage and determination, of kindness and generosity. It is a spirit grounded in the wisdom of the generations that have gone before us, but open to the unimagined discoveries and possibilities on the horizon that lies ahead. Let us enjoy it, cherish it, defend it, and pass it on to our children as the bright and beautiful blessing it is, this enduring American dream.
The creation of the first audio animatronics were not without complications, but Walt Disney himself insisted, "Don't worry, it's going to work," and it did.
Disneyland is dedicated to the ideals, the dreams, and the hard facts that have created America, with the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
America, spread your golden wings, sail on freedom's wind, cross the sky.